Hi, Joe Cerrone, CAD-230 Intro to Solidworks. This is our Zoom meeting for September 14th, 2020. I'll have these meetings every week to review the material. Currently, Module 1 is due at 11:30 p.m. today, so that'll be our first assignment that's due. If you have turned that in, I have graded and posted your evaluations, and you should also see in the gradebook that your grades are being automatically recorded. Quick review of Module 1. If we go to Content, Module 1, there were 3 assignments: Lab 1A, Lab 1B, and Lab 1C. And the textbook is right here for Chapter 3. And then Sebastian did the videos for this as he went through and kind of retooled the course. I've done the videos also, but rather than post the same videos twice, I think I'm just going to leave it alone. Don't forget to do the multiple choice quiz, and don't forget to do the volume quiz. And as long as we're in the don't forget zone, there's a pretest also. And I basically use that to go through some of the assessments for the course. So make sure that you complete Module 1 by 11:30. If you don't get it done, you can email me and ask for an extension. Otherwise, typically we start to take a 10% late penalty on those drawings. Module 1 covered Chapter 3, and Chapter 3 was basically basic solid modeling options. Let me back up a little bit right here. And so as we go through this, the learning objectives were use sketch tools, essentially, and to be able to use these smart dimensions, create this basic shape. If we look at the one that I did, and I'm probably going to have to share this again. It looks okay. If we look at the sketch, and you can go into the tree here and you can right click on it. You can say edit sketch, spacebar, normal to. You can see that the lines are all fully defined, which means that they're black. It means that the Solidworks knows where those are in relation to the origin. Sometimes you'll get some things that are not fully defined, and you can go through and you can. So, for example, if I take out this vertical relation, and it's still fully defined. But let's see if we take out a few more. There we go. And so sometimes you'll have one line that's not fully defined. What you can do is you can right mouse click and you can use these tools where it says fully defined sketch. My recommendation would be, rather than have it do every entity, just select the one entity that's blue and then have it calculate it for you. Now, it might not put in the same thing that was in the textbook, but it will solve your problem and it will fully define the part. So that was Lab 1A. If we take a look at the other labs, Lab 1B, again, a pretty straightforward part. As we look at this part, you create these different sketches, and then you model the part. I went through and I checked to see if anybody had any difficulties with these. Everything looked fine. The biggest problem was some people weren't getting everything fully defined, so I gave you some feedback as to where you could find that information to work on things like adding sketch relations. And then lab 3, if I were to check this one, you can see there's one line that's not fully defined here. And as we get into these, very often, I mean, I've been using it a little longer than students in this class, but it takes a little bit of time to start getting used to these relations. And so what you can do is to add a relation and see if it goofs everything up. So for example, I could add a relation and I could say this one, and I could say parallel. And then I can green check mark it, click off the part. It's still not fully defined. It probably needs a dimension to this point right here. And so if we put a smart dimension from here to here, that does fully define the part. I don't think it's supposed to be 1.79, so I think I'll just make it 1.75. If I'm incorrect, please follow the textbook. And so just some troubleshooting skills as far as that goes. But everything looked good from what I saw from the projects that were turned in. If you do need additional assistance, send me an email and I'll put through a Zoom meeting for you. Back to the main splash page. Last week was Labor Day. I went through the agenda for last week. Module 2 is due September 21st, next week. If we take a look at Module 2, we can go here to Content. Module 2. And it's, again, pretty much straight by the book. It's going to go through Chapter 4 of the book, and we're going to make these different parts. Sebastian's created these videos for Module 2, Lab A, B, and C, and D. And then there's also a multiple choice quiz and a volume quiz. I made some bonus labs. A lot of people turn them in. They're kind of nice. I like this old 2010 book. I really felt the author did an awesome job with it because he did a lot of small parts. So I've included some of those examples if you do want to do more SolidWorks under Module 2 bonus labs. And then there's a video also that goes through how to do these labs. So here's video 2A, 2B, 2C. Module 2 again is due next week at 11:30. And then if we come back here to the splash page and we look at our agendas or when things are due, Module 3 will be due on the 28th. And I'll cover that next week. If we go and we look at the content and we look at Module 3, it's these revolved sections. I realize if you didn't get the textbook that part was not scanned in. So I did add the textbook for those of you who have not got the textbook yet for Chapter 5. And so Chapter 5 textbook is required to be able to do that, to do the assignment. So that's there for you if you have not gotten the book. Okay, with that, let's take a look at the main splash page here. And essentially we have Module 1 due tonight, and then if we look at Module 2, it's these parts that are set from the textbook. Okay, rather than turn this into a big long lecture, I'm going to end the recording, and that's the quick review for what is due, what we're covering this week. Make sure that you turn in Module 1. Make sure that you do the quizzes and exams. Okay, so for Module 1, there's a multiple choice quiz that you should do, and there's a volume quiz. You should also do the pre-evaluation test so that I can go through and use that for some of the assessment data. Other than that, I think everybody's doing really very well, and I'll be happy to meet with you if you have any other questions. I'm going to stop the video now and open things up for questions.